At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Well, happy Monday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. You're watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning at 7 a.m. There will be some programming changes this week. Of course, I'll have updates on that. Thursday, Friday in particular this week, there will not be a Coffee with Krueger, but stick around and be sure to keep tuning in over the next few days. I'll be talking about a promotion for you to win a free coffee mug that you see right here. And we'll kind of talk about that in a little bit more detail as we go into the next couple of days. We do have a couple of people already chiming in this morning. We've got Lisa Stevens saying happy Monday to everyone with her cup of coffee. Oh, looks like a nice image there. We're going to go ahead and see. We've got Ruth Sanchez this morning saying good morning to everybody. We've also got Lynn Jones, some of my regulars. I always appreciate the regulars out there as well, saying it's going to be another hot day. Oh, looks like we've got a new one here. I haven't seen Ashley here. Ashley Boone saying good morning. Well, good morning to you as well, Ashley. So glad you could join us this morning. How you doing this morning? Are you staying cool? You know, here's another thing we need to remind ourselves. Take care of those around you. Elderly, maybe your neighbors, maybe an elderly neighbor. Just check in on them. Make sure they're okay. Make sure their AC is working okay. Because this is, without proper ways to stay cool, this is very dangerous heat, folks. You got to do that. You got to find ways to do that. And this is an opportunity for you to help out your neighbors, your friends, your family, and make sure everybody's okay. Don't forget about your pets. Don't forget about them. They can also overheat very easily as well. My dog, man, she's been sticking around inside pretty much a good portion of the day. She knows where it's at. She knows where to cool off, right? Of course, then we get in the pool, and that's the first place she goes, right? She'll just bark away and get, let me in the pool. Let's have fun. Let's stay cool. So that's a good way to do it. We have got someone this morning from Junction City saying good morning. Who is this? We've got Patricia. I'm seeing some new names, and this makes me happy, folks. That means more people are watching. And that's Weather NorCal is growing. So good morning in Junction City. I believe Junction City would be, you're talking about in Trinity County. Thank goodness the night's cool off here. You are 100% right. We've got a few other people here, some regulars here. We got Tracy Sackett saying good morning from MacArthur. Look at that. I love that. Hanging out with maybe your husband there. Waiting for my coffee to brew. Oh, nothing like sitting and waiting for that coffee to brew. It's like watching water boil. We've also got Rowdy Kelly saying for the first time in several days, it is foggy on the coast this morning. That is good. In fact, take a look at this. Thank you, Rowdy, for reminding me. I did check out this morning, and you can see that's what it looks like right now in Elk Country. Of course, that's just north of Trinidad. And we take a look at this. This is out north in Crescent City, where we do have some fog out there. So some low visibility because of that. So thank you, Rowdy, for giving me a reminder of that. Good morning from Curtis Brown. Let's see if we can get that in there. Saying good morning. Looks like another day inside. You got that right. Another day inside is 100% accurate because these temperatures, I tell you what, it is hot, folks. And we all know that. I don't need to tell you that. But again, we need to do whatever we can to keep ourselves cool. Well, what do you say we get to the forecast this morning? Take a look at the current conditions right now. We are sitting at 79. So we're already beginning to warm up here this morning. 77 degrees in Chico, 75 for Oroville, 65 degrees in Susanville and Quincy, about 57 degrees. Take a look at that visibility. And yeah, you saw, of course, that fog I showed you earlier. We're down to zero visibility, 0 mile visibility in Eureka, up and down the coast here. This is good to see because a couple of things. Number one, you're cooling off on the coast. You're seeing that fog, but that tells us the marine layer is back. And that could mean there could be a bit of a delta influence, that delta breeze, that cooler air, especially for places like Chico southward. It typically won't have that much of an impact here for Redding, but we'll see. We are expecting a slight cool down by tomorrow. In fact, we may break the 110 plus streak in Reading, as a matter of fact. Let's get you out the door this morning, this July 8th. Yeah, July 8th. It is Monday. Many of you back to work after maybe a 4-day holiday weekend, right? 4th of July. But we are seeing that fog this morning on the coast, much cooler there. But elsewhere, oh yeah, you got sunny skies. You got the heat as well. Although it is cooling off in the morning for the mountains, as we had Patricia saying, thank goodness the nights are cooling off there. And it is in the higher elevations. Trinity County, you'll be about 70 by 8 o'clock this morning, 76 in Siskiyou. And we're talking low 80s here for many of us in the valley. All right, we're going to talk about the fires. Now, Thompson Fire, this is kind of coming off of our radar here. You see the color scheme there. The gray colors indicating that's about 7 days old, 5 to 7 days old here, the heat signature. So what that's telling us is that there just hasn't been any recent activity. But it's a completely different story with the Shelley Fire in western Siskiyou County. I don't like seeing this. This is the latest data. This just came in the last half hour. Look at this is pretty much the entire fire perimeter right now. It's fairly active for the entire fire right now. See that red? That's data that is 6 to 0 hours old. It's very recent. So overnight, it's been fairly active. And its growth has mainly been to the north and east. That's not good. We don't want it to come over those mountains into Scott Valley, because we've got communities in Scott Valley that are being impacted by this. Take a look at the latest fire perimeter coming in from the Shelley Fire. So you can see kind of just a few points of reference. There's Shelley Lake. There's the Pacific Crest Trail. Over the weekend, it did hop over north side of the Pacific Crest Trail. Latest, I checked. Let me check again just to be on the safe side here. Let's see if there's any new data coming in. But latest I checked, it was 3,380 acres. Unfortunately, it was 0% containment. We zoom it out, get an idea, at least based on the fire perimeters, the distance from those communities in Scott Valley. Greenview, about 8 miles. Etna, about 8.3 miles. It actually has moved just a tad closer, unfortunately, to Greenview, and not to mention places like Fort Jones as well. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take you down to the Thompson Fire, and just kind of, again, it's off our radar. Last check on the Thompson Fire, it was 94% contained. We really haven't seen any growth, right? Because it's, for the most part, pretty much contained. Getting off our radar, we're not seeing any new growth. 98, last check. Now, of course, when I just updated this a half hour ago, now it's up to 98% containment. So this is good. Quite honestly, I'll probably not report much more on the Thompson Fire at this point, because we are now pretty much getting this thing under control, containment, all that good stuff. So that is great news, great to see. Now, before we get to the smoke, I want to show you a couple of maps here. This is, we're going to take you back to the Shelley Fire. I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. And looking at the Shelley Fire, that looks like overcast skies, but that is not cloud cover, folks. That is smoke. That is smoke. Take a look at that. This is looking from Fort Jones towards the fire. Look at all that smoke. I'm going to take it back about 12 hours here. We're going to take a time lapse. This is before sunset. Look at all the smoke it's producing. Very active. It kind of exploded in the evening hours. Now, typically at the nighttime, it looks worse than it is because it kind of gets out of focus. But here's the thing. In the last 12, 18 hours, we're now beginning to see the flames. We're beginning to see the flames on this side of that mountain ridge. We weren't able to see that just a few days ago, indicating that it is moving closer and it is getting larger. And I just hate to report on that. I'm going to refresh this because this will also show us what kind of heat signature we're seeing out of it. And if you look closely, is it updating? Let me try this again. Maybe it'll update. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to walk on over to the screen because you can't see it too clearly. This is good, but that's the heat signature coming in from the Shelley Fire. So earlier, it was kind of showing it was kind of getting hotter, then cooling down and hotter. So the brighter the orange, the hotter it is. So we're kind of seeing that dropping here. That's good, but it's become a little less active here in the last hour. So we take a look at the Shelley Fire. Let's talk about the evacuation warnings. All of the yellow butts up right there on the west side of Highway 3. Now, what you'll notice, Etna, the main community of Etna, is not part of the warning. Now, a warning means be prepared to evacuate, but you don't have to evacuate just yet. But get your stuff ready to go. Here's what I'd say. I know it's not officially a warning, but I would get your stuff ready to go in Etna. I'm not saying that I think the fire is going to move over you. I'm just saying, I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just right there surrounding your community. We head north. Again, north of Etna, all west of Highway 3, there is an evacuation warning. Once we get to, and I'm going to show you here, Skidder Creek Road. What road is this? That local road. It's not giving me that road, but let's zoom it out here better. Skidder Creek Road is about where it goes from an evacuation warning to an evacuation order. That means you've got to leave. There's Greenview Road. It includes Main Street, Mountain View Road, North Kidder Creek Road, Quartz Valley Road. But as you go north of Quartz Valley Road along Highway 3, it then turns back into an evacuation warning, meaning get your stuff ready to go. And it looks like the community of Fort Jones is also outside of the warning. But again, if you live in Fort Jones, not a bad idea to make sure that you get all of your gear ready to go. And of course, that just continues all the way up Highway 93 on Fort Jones Road. And then eventually it becomes no longer a warning. So I just wanted to show you. So let's zoom it out here. So as we zoom out and look at the red, that is the evacuation order. Etna, Fort Jones, you are not under an evacuation warning, but again, I would advise you to make sure that you got everything ready to go. The town of Greenview, you are within an evacuation order. Okay, so please take heed and get out and go seek shelter. It looks like we do have places for pets as we head into Oberland. So this is in the Wairika area, just south of Wairika. This is where you have a dog shelter. You've got also looks like Red Cross, so that might be a shelter for you to go if you need shelter. Okay, so they've got places for pets to go just south of Wairika. All right, so if you live in this area, if you have friends or family in the area, this is what it looks like right now in that current situation. All right, there is another fire that we've got our eyes on. I haven't been able to get the latest fire perimeter into my weather map, but I wanted to show you here the North Fire. It is growing, folks. It is 4,379 acres. It is just north of the town of Likely and Kaufman. Looks like it has mainly moved to the east. The towns of Flerney, Campbell are under an evacuation order. Of course, that then, of course, heads eastward onto Highway 1, where there's an evacuation order. You've got the town of Eagleville under an evacuation order. Surprise Valley Road, Highway 1, up to approximately Cedarville. So south of Cedarville, no order, but it is very close to Cedarville area as far as that order is concerned. You've got Cantrell Mill. All right, these are all part of the orders. There you can see where the main fire perimeter is right now. It is just to the north of Jesse Valley Road, or Jess Valley Road. And then also on the north side of that fire is where you have got, it's not giving me that road. Oh, County Road 151 is the name of that road. County Road, so south of County Road 151. Looks like they've been able to keep the fire just south of County Road 151. So that's essentially where we're seeing that fire. It's a large fire, folks. The winds have been gusty at times, and this is something I mentioned even on Friday, is that the winds were certainly going to be an issue. And sure enough, we have a fire that really did take off since yesterday. As it moved eastward, and that's essentially the direction that the winds have been blowing. And we're going to take a look at those winds here in just a second, but let's get you right to the smoke forecast. And it looks like you can see that's where most of the smoke is going to be at this point. Now, if we advance it into time, going into your Tuesday, what we're seeing here is the wind is shifting throughout the day, and we're kind of seeing this clockwise rotation throughout the day of where that smoke goes in the afternoon and, of course, going into the evening hours. So it looks like it's not pushing a ton of smoke into a lot of the surrounding areas, but there certainly will be some haze, and, of course, we're seeing a lot of that smoke in Scott Valley right now. The winds right now not that bad, but look at El Turris, look at Modoc County. The winds are a little strong, in particular around where those fires are. Now, looking at the winds for today, there's the noon hour, not that bad, but look at this afternoon. In the valley, we're seeing those winds pick up from the south, 15 to over 20 miles per hour. But again, look at off into Modoc County in the vicinity of the fire. You see 8 in there, El Turris, 14 over 20 miles per hour. That's around the vicinity of the fire. Doesn't look to be as bad in Etna, for example, but the winds are certainly going to be something we need to watch. Now, the humidity levels are dropping this afternoon. No big surprises there, but we are seeing some decent recovery as we go into the overnight and in the early morning hours. There's your fire weather risk for today. Not that bad by the noon hour, but it is increasing. We are in the high to very high range, especially for Tehama County northward. And once again, in the higher elevations, especially in Siskiyou County, the mountains of Shasta County, Lassen County, and Modoc County, all in that moderate to high range. So we've got that high fire danger out there, folks, even in the mountains. Now, the ridge of high pressure is still that dominant feature. That's keeping us fairly hot. We switch gears now, talk about the heat. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click on a couple of these. This is through Friday. The heat warning has now been extended through Friday in the valley, including Chico southward. We take a look at eastern Siskiyou County heat advisory until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. Modoc County until 9 o'clock tomorrow evening. But look at this, Lassen County until 10 a.m. Friday. That's also the case for Plumas County. We take out to Trinity County, heat warning until tonight, Monday. Western Siskiyou County until 9 o'clock p.m. For northern Humboldt County until 8 o'clock tonight. There's a heat advisory until 8 o'clock tonight for Del Norte County and until 8 o'clock tonight for Humboldt County. So it just depends on where you are, but the heat is going to be most excessive in the valley, surrounding foothills, and looks like even in the eastern mountains is essentially what we're looking at there. Oops, didn't want to do that. What I wanted to show you here is it's still impacting the entire western United States. You've got excessive heat watches, advisories, and warnings for many locations north, south, and east of us. Not west of us a whole lot, right? Because that's the ocean. But all-time record high was set. Now, I did a post on Facebook explaining where we get our highs, record highs from. And I want you to understand that. I have to report the official high, not the high that you saw in your backyard or what your thermometer said or what you recall from 10, 20, 30 years ago. Okay, we all have our memories of big heat waves. I get that. And I'm not denying that it could have been hotter than 119 at some point in time, more than once in the Redding area. But according to the official records since 1893, it's never been hotter than 118 degrees. It happened 3 times in 1971, 1981, and 1988. Now take note, when we broke our all-time high on Saturday, it's also not only an all-time high, since records have been taken, but it's the earliest we've hit that all-time high, July 6th, right? The earliest before that was July 20th. So we are kind of seeing, in fact, you'll see the trend. August 10th, August 7th, July 20th, and now July 6th. Kind of interesting, we're seeing this all-time high get earlier and earlier in the season. Now take a look at some of the other highs on Saturday. Red Bluff, of course, there were several records for the day that were broken. Except for Chico. Chico actually didn't break your high. Interesting, right? Eureka, of course, didn't, but Crescent City, Eureka did. Crescent City didn't. There was another all-time high that was at least tied, and that was in Eureka. You not only broke your daytime high, but you also tied your all-time high, which was actually set just 2 years ago, and a couple of other times before that. Mount Shasta, Weaverville, El Turris broke a record, tied a record in Chester, And Susanville, you also broke your daytime high, but only 3 degrees shy of your all-time high. Weaverville, 3 degrees shy of your all-time high as well. So only 2 degrees shy of Mount Shasta City. So Saturday was the peak of the heat wave. The good news is temperatures will start to drop. Now, another thing I'm tracking right now is the consecutive number of days that we've seen 110 degrees or higher. 6 straight days. That's the longest stretch that we've seen 110 degrees plus in 1978, 1988, 1920 was 5 straight days. Now, I am doing a counter of how many we've seen so far. Since July 3rd, that's when it started, 111 degrees. Yesterday, we saw a high of 116. Today, I'm expecting 114. So that would put us at 6 days if today's forecast verifies. That means that today, this will be the 3rd time that we have seen 6 straight days of 110 plus degree temperatures. Now, what's interesting is there's a chance we may not break that record, but it's going to be close. And the thing is, if we get up to 110 degrees tomorrow, which for now the forecast looks to be 109, that may break the stretch of 110 plus. But if we reach 110 tomorrow, then I think we're going to easily break that record by several days. We can get that up to Thursday, if not Friday of this week, because there's actually going to be a dip in our temperatures on Tuesday before we see them go back up again for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But it's the end of the weekend and beginning of next week when we're finally at least getting closer to normal for this time of the year. All right, let's take a look at our highs for today. Yes, there it is. 6th straight day, Reading will have seen 110 degrees or higher. That ties the record we've seen 2 other times before. You can, of course, see mainly in the hundreds, even for the higher elevations. Places like Lassen Park, maybe cool off there at 85, 99 for Chester and Portola, Quincy 108, Susanville 103. Along the coast, of course, you can cool down there with some of that fog we're seeing out there this morning. So let's take a look at your 7-day outlook. Yeah, I mean, the temperatures are going to, again, we could break that streak of 110 plus for Reading. Chico, you'll be back up to about 110 degrees by Thursday and Friday. Taking a look at the coast, mid-60s, next 7 days, no big surprises there. Temperatures most likely over 100 degrees through Saturday for inland, not to mention for Weaverville. And we take you off into Mount Shasta, Alturas, Susanville. Of course, those temperatures dropping below 100 degrees, at least for Alturas and Mount Shasta, by especially this weekend. But still around 100 degrees for Susanville, looks like through Saturday. All right, let's go and take a look at some of the cameras we have out there this morning. Main Street, Chico, looks like things are all clear there. Not a lot of traffic out there this morning, as well as Highway 99 at Neal Road. We take you out to Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive. Looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. Oh, and it's not just us. We're looking for ways to cool off, but Ellie Delgado, thank you for sending in this image. Cooling off in Cottonwood. She used the free Weather NorCal app to send this image. And boy, that hummingbird is a smart one, isn't it? Cooling off there in Cottonwood. By the way, if you want to share your photos, want to see them right here on Coffee with Krueger or the Morning Update and also on social media, just share it through the free Weather NorCal app. Ways you're cooling off, way birds are cooling off, your dog is cooling off, your cat is cooling off, how they're cooling off, sunset, sunrise picture, just a picture nonetheless that you think tells a good story. We would love to see it. I would love to share it. And eventually, if we can get enough photos from you guys, we will maybe start a contest. Wouldn't that be fun? Hey, before we get to that, let's kind of check in with you all and see what's going on this morning here. See if anybody's kind of chimed in with any interesting information here. Praying for friends who lived outside of Fort Jones. Yes, that is certainly the case. Of course, did a lot of that fire coverage here just a second ago to kind of give you updates on that. That's coming in from Lynn Jones. Good morning, Mike. Have a great day. Try to stay cool. Looks like that's coming in from Elaine Gerard. Looks like we've also got Jeff saying, good morning from cool, foggy Eureka today, but heading back into Reading. Oof. Well, Jeff, I just say be prepared. You're probably going to be in like something to keep you warm because it's nice and cool this morning. But yeah, it's going to be like hitting an oven compared to where you've been in Eureka. So welcome back. I guess you could say that too, but yeah, be prepared for that heat. All right, well, today is Thursday, and we have a new Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals segment that I would love to share with you. I got to hang out with Sharon Clay from Turtle Bay, and there's a new exhibit that they're working on that could use your help because the funding is not there to get it to where she would like it. And so you have an opportunity to help them with a new exhibit that they're working on. So check out Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals, proudly sponsored by Cottonwood Veterinary Clinic and Cottonwood Small Animal Clinic. Hello everyone, Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. You are watching Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals, brought to you of course by Cottonwood Vet and Small Animal Clinic. I am here with Sharon Clay from Turtle Bay, and we have got tumbleweed. Now, the couple of things we're going to talk about is beating how the animals can beat the heat, but also where we're standing here is the future home for tumbleweed and his friends, right?
That is correct.
So what's going on here?
Okay, so I'll start with this exhibit. So this exhibit was a tortoise exhibit that we had that was built by some Eagle Scouts, which we were really proud of. It lasted about 10 years, but it literally rotted out and just fell apart. And so after 10 years, so it was really great. But now we need a new outdoor exhibit. They need the UV light, they need the vitamin D, they need all of that stuff from the sun. And we're trying to build a new exhibit for him. So for her. And then if we build it right, her other friends like Blueberry and Bayetta, the Gila Monster stuff will also be able to come out here, and it'll be built in a way where they can stay out all the time, so they can deal well with the heat, get the sun when they need it.
So all year round.
So yeah, we do have a budget, but to do this exhibit the way we want is actually above the budget that we have. So we would love for people to help get tumbleweed a new home.
I think it'd be great. So it's up to you. So how can people donate? What's the best way for them to donate?
So there's actually a donate button on Turtle Bay's website,
that's good.
Or you can call directly into Turtle Bay, and they can take donations that way as well. In order to donate.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So go to the website, turtlebay.org, and then of course you can click that donate button and donate as much money as you can afford. They would be very grateful.
Yeah, every little bit adds up. I think we want to try to get it to about 5,000 if we can.
Let's do it.
And that will help get her the exhibit we want. If not, we're going to have to size everything back down to a small exhibit to fit into the budget we have. And we'd really love to give her the best home that she deserves here.
Well, let's see if we can make that happen. Let's see if you can help with that as well. Now, another thing we're talking about is beating the heat. How do the animals in general, I mean, because we're figuring out ways to beat the heat. How do the animals do that?
Well, so we beat the heat in very similar ways. So one thing we do, right, we sweat.
Yes.
Right, so that's our biological way to beat the heat. But then we go to the lake, we go up to the mountains, we sit on our couches in the air conditioning and don't get out. That's what I do. Eat ice pops, things like that. So we do similar types of things for the animals. If it gets too hot, we'll bring them inside. Also, most of our animals can handle the heats around here, but we give them big ice blocks. We give the foxes bloodsickles. Like I like raspberry or pineapple ice pops, but they like the blood flavored ones.
That's awesome.
So we give them that. That helps to cool them down. We have misters that cool them down too. North State Ice. Oh my God, giant shout out to North State Ice. They donate big blocks of ice to us so that we can give them. We give it to Spike the porcupine. She just lays out over the ice. So we do all kinds of things like that. We do an entire program. If it's over 100 degrees, we cannot do our walk on the wild side animal show too hot.
Yeah.
And so we do an indoor show called Beat the Heat, and we talk all about it. So you people can still come, still see the animals up close, and get a show and education.
Well, that's great to you know, especially you're doing what you can to help them beat the heat. And one real quick reminder, again, we are standing in the future exhibit for Tumbleweed and all of her friends. So be sure to help make this become a reality so they can have this. They need to raise at least $5,000, and you can help. So tell your friends, tell your family to go to turtlebay.org and click that donate button, and it would be a big help. Well, thank you, Sharon. Thanks, you, Tumbleweed, for just kind of hanging out, doing your thing. We appreciate that, and we'll see you next time for another Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals.
Thank you.
Well, so that, of course, just kind of give you a quick idea that how easy it is. Turtlebay.org, that's all you got to do from the website. And then in the very upper right, you'll see a donate button right there. See that, where my cursor is? Click on that, And then you can do a one-time gift. You can also do, you just click in your dollar amount annually, all these things that you can do to help Turtle Bay. Keep in mind that they run off of funding, grants, all that good stuff. They are a private, there it is, right? Turtle Bay is a private 501c3 nonprofit organization. So keep that in mind when you take your family out there, that it takes money, it takes donations to help keep Turtle Bay afloat. And when you can do things, if you have a passion for animals, and say your pets, for example, we all love animals, right? This is an opportunity for you to give back to your community and give back to those awesome animals that, you know, not only Sharon just loves so much, and of course all the volunteers out there, but look at those kids on that screen right there. It's a great educational resource that we have free for all of the educators right there for you. And it's just a great resource for our community. And to be able to give back to the animals that are such a great resource, you have an opportunity to help them out and donate some money. So go ahead and do that if you can. If you have anything to help, they would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, they were trying to reach that goal of $5,000. Let's get you to the forecast this morning. We've got a lot to talk about, but before we do that, we of course got to mention our sponsor. Of course, sponsors are what make Weather NorCal possible, and of course, Wind River is helping to make Coffee with Krueger possible. So thank you to Wind River, because at Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, we take a look at the current conditions out there right now, and we are currently looking at 79 degrees out in Redding, 81 degrees for Red Bluff. We're at 65 for Susanville, Quincy about 57, and 55 degrees right now in Alturas. Now, we look at the headlines. The heat wave continues. More record heat, though. This is going to continue. So the thing is, we saw the peak of the heat wave on Saturday, but the good news is temperatures are dropping, but still very hot through the week. Hot and dry conditions will keep the fire danger high, and the cooling is on the horizon. So instead of 110, 103, 104. 103, 104 is certainly a lot better than 110 plus, right, isn't it? Now, of course, the wind gusts right now, not an issue. They're not a problem here, but they will be picking up again later on this afternoon. There you can see, especially to the east, this is not where we want to see the winds. And this is something I picked up on last week. Remember last week, the red flag warnings were here. I think it was Thursday, Friday, or Friday into Saturday. I was mentioning we should have one over here because the winds, the dry conditions, and the heat. Well, where did the fire start? We saw a fire start right here. And why? Because we saw the gusty winds, very dry out there. So the fire was able to spread fairly rapidly because of the winds. Winds coming in from the west. Now we go into tomorrow morning, not an issue. But again, tomorrow afternoon, look at the winds coming in from the west. They're blowing fairly strong, over 20 miles per hour. Now it's not a major wind event. Don't get me wrong, but when you get 15, 20 miles an hour, that's enough to, number one, dry things out, and number two, help elevate that fire danger, because a fire can spread pretty rapidly, even in 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. It looks like the gusty winds, or should we say breezy conditions, will continue even into Wednesday. Now the humidity, one of the factors that we can look at here is what kind of recovery do we see in the overnight and early morning hours. We're actually seeing some decent recovery. 30, even over 40%, and even out towards western Siskiyou County where the Shelley fire is. We take into Tuesday afternoon, it gets very dry again. But by Wednesday morning, we see some decent recovery, but it dries out again going into your Wednesday afternoon. So still very hot, very dry conditions, and of course those breezy conditions. I do this every day. I have to remind you, don't drive on dry grass. Secure those chains. Make sure the chains that when you're towing a vehicle, when you're towing something, a trailer or whatever, make sure those chains are not scraping the ground. That can create sparks, and sparks, as you know, can create fires, especially in very dry conditions. Never toss the cigarettes on the ground. Use grills on paved surfaces. That makes sense. Mow the lawn early in the morning and when it's not windy or excessively dry. So essentially what that means is don't mow. Yeah, okay, maybe in the morning when it cools off and we're seeing that decent recovery, but early in the morning, okay? Early. And make sure it's not windy. If it's windy, don't even think about it. And then, of course, never leave fires unattended and always properly extinguish those fires. So we look at the fire tracker. This is looking at the satellite heat signatures. The satellite can detect heat. This is looking at a date line of when that heat signature was detected. So what we're looking at here is about 5 days old, meaning the Thompson fire is really starting to get off of our radar at this point. We take a look at the fire tracker here, though, and yeah, this just came in the last half hour. Look at that. Most, if not all, of the fire perimeter is seeing some form of activity here. What this red is saying, this is the most recent activity and is picking up on the last 6 hours or so. So this is not something we want to see with these fires. Now, to give you an idea what the latest fire perimeter, there it is right here. Remember, that's where we're seeing this heat signature right now. So again, most of the fire is fairly actively burning. Where are we seeing the growth? See the lighter shades of red? That's where we've seen growth from here northward. Over the weekend, it did hop over. So we didn't see all of this part here for the most part late last week. But once it hopped over the Pacific Crest Trail, which is right here, there's a Pacific Crest Trail, there's Shelley Lake. Of course, it just continued to go to the north and east. 0% containment, 3,380 acres, and you can see the distance from these communities. Now, keep in mind, Greenview has an evacuation order. Etna, surrounding Etna, there's evacuation warning. That evacuation warning goes all the way up to Highway 3 and then northward, north of Greenview as well. But you can see the distances of the fire perimeter from those communities. We take you out to Thompson. Now, this is actually now 90, I think the last I checked it was like 98% contained. So this is really kind of coming off of our radar, not necessarily concerned about this one. Again, earlier I did kind of talk about the fire in Eastern. In fact, I'll do that for you right now, just in case you missed it and you want to kind of get some more information on that. We'll get off the Turtle Bay here. We're going to go into watch duty. There it is. So there's the north fire. I'm going to zoom it out here so you get a better perspective. There's El Turris. We got El Turris right here. Then, of course, we go into Cedarville right here, and then there right here. This is the county line as we go into northern portions of Lassen County. There's the north fire, okay? I just wanted to kind of give you a reference on that. It's over 4,000 acres. It's grown mainly to the east. There are evacuation orders in Florney, in Eagleville, northward all the way up Highway 1 just south of Cedarville. Evacuation orders are in place there. That means you need to be out now. This will be impacting the South Warner Wilderness. Where you have the northern tip of where that is, well, there's Cantrell Mill. And then the south end of that order basically just hits the county line. Okay, so just kind of be aware of that. That's where we have those evacuation orders. So again, just wanted to give you a quick look at that. I don't have a fire perimeter that I can put in my weather computer just yet, but you can see where that fire perimeter is. So now let's transition and talk about the heat. The heat is something that we've been dealing with here over the weekend. We'll continue to deal with. What you see here is through Friday. What you see here is all the way through Friday. That's the heat advisory. So this, again, this heat wave extends all the way through this week. Now, for these areas here, including Trinity County, this is basically either through tonight or Tuesday night. That also includes Modoc County and eastern Siskiyou County as well. So, of course, there's still going to be some fairly big heat in the valley and even off into the eastern mountains. And you can see just how far north, east, and south it extends. It's impacting the entire west coast. Now, this heat dome shifted to the south over the last 24 hours. Great news, because our temperatures have dropped slightly, but we still have that heat dome. Now, tomorrow it drops even more to the south. That may allow our temperatures to just briefly drop below 110 degrees for most of us in the valley. But as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that ridge of high pressure builds just off to our east, but temperatures still staying fairly hot. Then eventually that shifts off to the east by this upcoming weekend. As a result, we're going to see this little pocket of more mild air pass to our north, another pocket of more mild air moving in from the west, helping to push that heat to our south. There's another big dome of high pressure here, not really necessarily concerned about that one right now, but as long as these storm systems continue to ride to our north, that should help to kind of keep those temperatures at bay, especially by this upcoming weekend and early next week. Wave heights looks like they have dropped a little bit here, and they're really not going to change much here as we take you into the next 24 to 48 hours. There you can see your marine forecast. Northwest winds at about 5 to 10 knots. There's going to actually be some patchy dense fog out there, especially this morning, burning off a little bit by the second half of the day. Here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, and well, there it is, still hot. But there is relief in sight when we look at the 7-day forecast for everyone, really. There you can see about 101 for Wildwood, 105 for Ruth, 98 degrees for Mad River. We take you out to parts of Humboldt, southern Humboldt County. Could see some triple-digit heat there, especially out towards Redway, close to it in Garberville. But it looks like Redway kind of staying in the mid to upper 90s here through Friday, and then dropping down to the 80s by this upcoming Sunday. Ferndale, 70, seeing some of that fog as you start kind of heading in here. 77 degrees for Rio Dell. Temperatures obviously cooler there. Temperatures mid-60s for the coast, but the inland area is staying 100 degrees or higher through Saturday. 111 for Willow Creek, 108 in Hoopa. We take you up north with Orleans, 112. Look at Crescent City, the coast in general, mainly in the mid-60s for the next 7 days. We're seeing that fog this morning. It's going to try to burn off this afternoon, so we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies today for the immediate coast. But sunny skies elsewhere, smoky, hazy in the vicinity of the fire here. So, of course, you've got the fire. Let's take a look at right now to the south here. Of course, you've got Etna. The fire mainly off to the east here. So, yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of smoke out in Scott Valley today. So that's not necessarily sunny, but pretty hazy and smoky. Temperatures are going to basically stay about 100 degrees or kind of give or take through Saturday. Your Siskiyou County for central and eastern Siskiyou County, Tule Lake 100, 97 out towards Tenet, but still over 100 degrees from Mount Shasta City, 103, 102 in McLeod. And for Modoc County, temperatures also about 100 degrees, give or take. There you can see Newell about 99 degrees, 100 in Fort Bidwell. There's likely at 102 degrees. Your eastern mountains, neighborhood forecast, most likely 100 degrees or higher for most of us. Some of those higher elevations like Violet, 94, 93 for Old Station, Hat Creek, about 99, as well as Bieber. We take you out to Lake Almanor, Lassen Park, where, of course, the park is still pretty warm. Look at the north entrance. You're still at 91 for a high. A little bit cooler at the south entrance. That's a bit of a higher elevation at 83. But out towards Chester, for all intents and purposes, about 100 degrees. 96 out towards Westwood, 97 degrees for the peninsula. Let's take you out to the south, where Paradise you'll get up to 102. Susanville, a high of 103, as well as Doyle. And there you can see Mineral, a high of about 96 degrees. Let's take you to the Valley neighborhood forecast, brought to you by NorCal Tractor. Your temperatures there, mostly 110 degrees or higher. Places like Chico at 110. But as you head southward, there may be a little bit of that Delta breeze influence, and that should help keep things cooler. Still hot, though, for Redding with 114. 113 for Cottonwood. Lakehead 108, as well as Whiskeytown. Looking at your 7-day outlook for Redding, well, we could break that stretch, by the way, of 110 degrees plus tomorrow. We'll see if that happens. Now, here's the thing. We're going to see 114 today. That actually ties our longest stretch of 110 plus of 6 days. That's happened 2 times before since records have been taken. So today will be the 6th straight day we've seen 110 degrees plus in Redding. Tuesday, tomorrow, we may break that stretch, but wouldn't you know it, right after that, we're back up to 110 plus for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if we stay at 110 degrees tomorrow, if we just barely touch that 110 degree mark on Tuesday, we're going to be in the 7, 8, 9, possibly 10 straight days of 110 plus degree temperatures. But Tuesday will be the determining factor as to whether or not we meet that trend. As far as I'm concerned, what do you say you just go for it, right? Just go for it. Why not? I mean, it's going to be hot anyways. 110, 109. Let's try to break that record. I don't know. That may be not such a great, healthy idea of looking at it, but there you go. Right, hot. Good morning. Let's see here. This was 4 minutes ago, so it looks like fairly recent. We'll go ahead and send that on over. Oh, that's from Foggy Eureka. What happened here? Let's send that. Oh, there we go. That's from Sandra Stern saying, good morning, Mike. And everybody stay safe. Everybody. Yeah, stay safe. We're talking heat. We're talking fire danger, all that stuff. And if you are under an evacuation order, please follow the rules and evacuate. That's for your safety. It's just for all reasons, right? That's the reason why they issue those. Oof. All right, so it's definitely, I'm getting hot. Again, this is one of those things where I just get hot talking about the weather, even though it's not too terribly hot in my studio. But things are definitely warming up. It's staying hot. Stay cool out there, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching this morning. We are going to wrap things up by getting, here we go. And we're going to take a look at some cameras. Let's get some cameras going, and then we will kind of wrap up the show here, and we will call it a day for today. But again, programming note, Coffee with Krueger will not happen on Thursday or Friday of this week. I'm going on vacation. Now, I'm not going to tell you where I'm going because that's going to be part of the promotional contest that I'll have where you can win a free coffee mug just like this. So be sure to stick around, watch tomorrow, watch Wednesday, and you'll get more details on that contest and how it will work. And then, of course, as I go on my vacation, we'll have fun. Yes, I'm going on vacation. Can you believe it? For the first time since Weather NorCal has started, I'm able to take some time off. Brian Wilson is gracious enough to fill in for me, and I'm grateful for that. So it's just a couple of days. We're kind of just experimenting with me taking some time off. Eventually, I will be going on longer vacations, right? That's the plan. I want to be able to do that. And with the growth of Weather NorCal, it makes it possible for me to take this time off. And so I'm appreciative of that. So that is going to do it for today. Let's take a look at some of these cameras, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger starting at 7 a.m.